They think you're stupid, yeah you. Because tonight on SmackDown, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman didn't just call out Braun Breaker and Austin Theory, they tested how much disrespect WWE fans are willing to swallow before snapping. And here's the part that should make you angry: this wasn't chaos, this was calculated. Seth Rollins walked out smiling like he already knew the ending. Braun Strowman followed like a human warning label. And the message was clear: Braun Breaker, Austin Theory, you think you're the future? Prove it, right now. But let me ask you something before we go further. Who do you think WWE is really trying to protect here, the legends or the so-called future? Drop your answer in the comments, because this matters more than you think. Rollins didn't just talk trash. He dissected Breaker. He mocked Theory. He questioned their hunger, their patience, their worth. Seth called himself the Vision for a reason, because he sees exactly what WWE is doing, rushing talent before they're ready and then blaming them when the crowd turns. And Braun didn't need words. Braun just stood there. Because when a monster stays silent, it means violence is being saved, not avoided. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Braun Breaker is supposed to be the unstoppable future. Explosive. Intense. A genetic freak. But when Seth Rollins calls you out and the crowd waits to see if you'll flinch, that's pressure they don't teach at the Performance Center. And Austin Theory? This man has been handed opportunity after opportunity, titles, screen time, endorsement after endorsement, yet every reaction feels forced. So when Rollins asked him, what do you actually stand for, the silence from Theory said everything. Quick question. Be honest, if Austin Theory wasn't pushed so hard, would you still care about him? Yes or no? This SmackDown challenge wasn't about a match. It was about exposure. Seth and Braun were daring Breaker and Theory to stand in the deep end. No scripts, no protection, no excuses. And here's the brutal truth nobody wants to admit. Braun Breaker looked ready to fight, but not ready to lead. Austin Theory looked confident, but not dangerous. That's a problem, because when Seth Rollins smells weakness, he doesn't attack your body, he attacks your identity. He makes the crowd question you. He makes management nervous. He makes you doubt yourself. And Braun Strowman? Braun represents consequence. If this challenge turns physical, there's no fluke roll UPS, no lucky counters. There's just impact. Now ask yourself this. If this challenge becomes a match, who takes the pin? Because someone will. And whoever it is might never recover. This confrontation exposed WWE's biggest gamble, pushing youth against experience without fully committing to either. If Breaker and Theory lose, they're not ready. If Rollins and Braun lose, WWE admits the future is shaky. That's why this angle matters. This isn't filler. This is a crossroads. And let's be real, the crowd wasn't fully on anyone's side. That hesitation, that uncertainty, that's dangerous. Because WWE fans don't just cheer or boo, they reject. And once that happens, no push can save you. Final question, and I really want your answer. Should Braun Breaker and Austin Theory accept the challenge or walk away before it destroys them? If this match happens, careers will change. If it doesn't, reputations will be questioned. Either way, Seth Rollins already won because he forced everyone to look closer. If this made you feel something, anger, hype, doubt, share this video. Because Ring Rumble doesn't sugarcoat the truth. And trust me, this challenge is only the beginning. Because what happens after the call-out is where WWE usually gets exposed. See, anyone can step into the ring and talk. Anyone can point, shout, posture, and let the crowd do the rest. But when Seth Rollins throws a challenge on SmackDown, it's never just about winning a match, it's about rewriting perception. And Braun Strowman standing beside him wasn't backup, it was a statement. Think about it. Why Braun? Why now? Because Braun represents something Braun Breaker is supposed to become unavoidable. And that comparison alone is disrespectful. Seth knew exactly what he was doing by aligning himself with a monster instead of another technical mastermind. He forced Breaker to look at his own future and ask, am I really that guy yet? And here's a question you should be asking yourself. Do you think Braun Breaker has already peaked, or is his best still years away? That hesitation you're feeling? That's the same hesitation the crowd felt. Now let's talk about Austin Theory, because this situation might be even worse for him. Theory wasn't just being challenged physically, he was being exposed emotionally. Seth didn't attack his strength. He attacked his credibility. He attacked the idea that Theory belongs in the same ring as people who changed the industry. And when Theory smirked instead of responding with fire, that hurt him. Because fans can smell insecurity. And right now, Theory smells like someone still waiting for permission to be great. Ask yourself, when was the last time Austin Theory felt like a real threat? Exactly. This SmackDown segment created an invisible timer. From the moment Rollins finished speaking, the clock started ticking. Every promo, every match, every backstage shot, Braun and Theory are now being measured against Seth's words. And here's the scary part, if they overreact, they fail. If they hesitate, they fail. There's no safe option. Seth Rollins thrives in chaos like this. He's been the golden boy, the villain, the messiah, the outcast, the champion, the joke, and the genius. He knows exactly how to survive moments that break others. Braun Strowman? He doesn't survive moments. He ends them. So if this challenge turns into a tag match, a singles match, or even a brawl, don't be fooled by the result. The damage won't show up on the scoreboard. It'll show up in how the crowd reacts weeks later. Because here's the truth WWE doesn't want to admit. Fans decide who's ready, not management. And right now, fans are undecided. Quick one. If you were booking this, would you let Bron Breakker pin Seth Rollins, or would you protect Seth at all costs? That's the dilemma. That's the risk. If Breakker pins Seth, people will call it forced. If Seth pins Breakker, people will say WWE gave up on the future. And if Austin Theory eats the loss, that might be the final confirmation that he was never the guy to begin with. This is why this challenge feels so volatile. It's not just about ego, it's about direction. And don't overlook this detail: Seth Rollins didn't demand anything. He invited them. That's confidence. That's dominance. That's someone who knows he controls the narrative no matter what happens. So now I want to know, who do you think has more to lose here, Seth Rollins or Bron Breakker? Because one bad moment could derail years of momentum. And as for Braun Strowman, if he really snaps, this whole thing becomes a massacre. Braun doesn't elevate people gently. He forces them to either adapt or disappear. This is SmackDown at its most dangerous. Not because of weapons, not because of blood, but because truth is being forced into the spotlight. And once the truth comes out, there's no rewriting it. If you felt the tension, hit like. If this made you angry, comment. If you think this challenge will define the next era, share this video. Because Ring Rumble will be here watching every second. And trust me, the fallout is going to be brutal. Because once the fallout starts, there's no pause button. This isn't one of those moments WWE can quietly walk back. This isn't a promo that fades after one episode of SmackDown. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman cracked something open, and what spills out next could expose who Bron Breakker and Austin Theory really are when the spotlight turns unforgiving. Let's talk psychology for a second. Bron Breakker is used to being the alpha, the explosive entrance, the loud reactions, the aura of inevitability. But Seth Rollins didn't challenge his strength, he challenged his timing. He implied that Braun is being rushed into a role he hasn't earned yet. And that doubt? That seed? That's dangerous. Because once a performer starts wrestling to prove something instead of to be something, mistakes happen. So here's a question you need to answer honestly. Do you think Bron Breakker thrives under pressure, or cracks when the moment gets too big? Now Austin Theory's situation might be even more fragile. He's been positioned as the future for so long that fans are exhausted from being told what to feel instead of discovering it naturally. And Seth Rollins knows that. That's why he didn't shout at Theory. He didn't threaten him. He simply talked around him like Theory was an accessory, not a centerpiece. That's humiliation. And humiliation changes people. Sometimes it ignites them. Sometimes it exposes them. Which one do you think Theory becomes? Drop ignite or expose in the comments. Here's what makes this SmackDown challenge terrifying from a booking standpoint: there is no perfect outcome. Every possible finish creates a new problem. If Rollins wins clean, the future looks weak. If Breakker wins clean, fans cry forced. If Braun destroys Theory, Theory becomes a punchline. If Theory steals a win, credibility evaporates. That's why this feels like a gamble, not a storyline. And let's not ignore the crowd reaction again. That mixed noise? That uncertainty? That's not indifference, that's fans subconsciously deciding who they're willing to invest in. Because WWE can push faces, but fans crown stars. Ask yourself this. If Bron Breakker left WWE tomorrow, would fans still talk about him 5 years from now? That's the test Seth Rollins has already passed. And Braun Strowman? Braun doesn't care about legacy, he cares about impact. If this challenge turns into violence, Braun won't be trying to elevate anyone. He'll be trying to remind everyone that monsters don't ask permission to dominate. Which leads to the scariest possibility of all. What if Bron Breakker snaps? What if instead of proving Seth wrong, he proves him right by losing control? What if that intensity everyone loves turns into recklessness? Because one botched moment, one overreaction, one desperate move, and the narrative flips instantly. This is how careers tilt. Final question, and think before you answer. Is WWE setting Bron Breakker up to succeed, or to fail for the sake of a bigger story? Because if this challenge goes sideways, it won't be Seth Rollins paying the price. It won't be Braun Strowman. It'll be the future. And that's why this moment matters. That's why this SmackDown wasn't just another episode. It was a stress test. If you're still watching, you already feel it. If you're angry, good, you're supposed to be. If you're debating in the comments, even better. Share this with someone who thinks this is just a promo. Because Ring Rumble sees what's coming. And when the bell finally rings, someone's illusion is going to shatter. And when that illusion shatters, there is no rebuilding it the same way. Because WWE history is filled with moments just like this, moments that looked small on paper but ended up defining entire careers. One confrontation, one challenge, one crowd reaction that couldn't be scripted no matter how hard creative tried. That's what Seth Rollins understands better than almost anyone. Seth didn't come out to SmackDown to win a fight. He came out to draw a line between those who think they're ready and those who have already survived the fire. And by dragging Braun Strowman into this, he added gravity, he added danger, he added consequence. Now let's flip the perspective for a second. What if Braun Breaker and Austin Theory don't accept the challenge? Let that sink in. Because walking away doesn't make this go away. It makes it worse. It turns every future match into a question mark, every promo into a reminder, every loss into what if. And WWE fans never forget a what if. So ask yourself, would declining this challenge make Braun and Theory look smart or scared? There's also something else nobody's talking about: ego. Braun Breaker has been told his whole life that he's built for this. Austin Theory has been told he's the chosen one. And Seth Rollins just walked out and implied that belief alone isn't enough. That hits different. Because the most dangerous thing you can do to a rising star is force them to confront the possibility that they might not be ready yet. And if this turns into a match, watch the body language, watch the pacing, watch who rushes and who waits. Seth Rollins is a master at letting others hang themselves with their own urgency. Quick one for the real fans. Who do you trust more in a high-pressure moment, Seth Rollins or Braun Breaker? Exactly. Now imagine the aftermath. Imagine Breaker loses not decisively, but convincingly enough to plant doubt. Imagine Theory takes the pin and the crowd barely reacts. Imagine Braun Strowman standing tall while Seth laughs in the background. That image alone could haunt them for months. But imagine the opposite. Imagine Braun Breaker spears Seth Rollins out of his boots. Imagine the crowd hesitates, then slowly accepts it. Imagine Austin Theory finally shows edge instead of ego. That's the risk WWE is flirting with. Because if they pull the trigger too soon, they can't unpull it. This isn't just about who wins. It's about who the audience believes in afterward. Last question, and don't dodge it. Who feels more authentic right now, Braun Breaker or Seth Rollins? Because authenticity is everything. And right now, Seth Rollins feels like someone speaking from experience, while Braun and Theory feel like someone trying to live up to expectations. That doesn't mean they can't rise. It means they have to earn it. This SmackDown challenge is the kind of moment that either forges stars or exposes projects. And once fans decide which one you are, it's almost impossible to change their minds. So watch closely, listen carefully, read the crowd, because when this finally explodes, and it will, the shockwaves won't stop at one match or one show. Ring Rumble will be here to break it all down. Until then, decide who you're backing because WWE is watching too.